Good evening, and welcome back to Mr. Bones' Horror Zone. And we've got a special episode just in time for Halloween. We missed it? Oh, well, that's a shame. By how much? It's November? Tonight, we're going to be talking about apparently not Halloween because it's almost the end of November. I don't know what happened. We will, however, be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart. Tales from the Cryptkeeper. We're going to be doing this in list format because of the way YouTube works. Did y'all know that there was a Tales from the Crypt cartoon show? It's called Tales from the Cryptkeeper, so not that different in terms of title. There was also a Tales from the Crypt game show, which I guess it was kind of like Legends of the Hidden Temple, but spooky. Or maybe less spooky. Those temple guards, man. Anyway, there was a cartoon show aimed at children with John Kassir returning to voice the pun-y undead host, the Crypt Keeper. It premiered September 18th, 1993, and ran for 2 seasons. Just 2 seasons. It was a pretty good show as far as Nelvana animated spooky anthology shows for kids go. Although I don't know if I can say that it was actually scary ever, even for kids. I mean, I watched it as a kid, never scared me. It does have a very nice Tales from the Crypt flavor, which I think is what merits a rewatch. Or a first watch if you've never heard of it. Just like the live action series, it's hosted by the Crypt Keeper, although in the 2nd season, occasionally stories from the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch are thrown in there as well. The stories that I personally remember the best, though, are weirdly enough from the Crypt Keeper. Probably because I watched the 1st season more than the 2nd season when I was a kid. I think I actually may have just watched the same 4 episodes over and over and over again, because kids love repetition. Anyway, this list is going to be of the top 5 personal favorite episodes of Tales from the Crypt Keeper. Number 5, The Gorilla's Paw. As the title suggests, the Gorilla's Paw is a sort of homage. No, I wouldn't even go that far. It's just a straight off rip of the Monkey's Paw story, which itself, weirdly enough, was adapted for the live-action Tales from the Crypt show, and I'm pretty sure was also adapted for the Tales from the Crypt comics back in the 50s. So it's made the rounds. Gorilla's Paw has this nerdy kid that desperately wants to fit in with the cool kids, who, by the way, are hilarious. So he goes into an old curio shop and ends up stealing something from it to impress them. And it's the Gorilla's Paw, and it can grant wishes. And the wishes that it grants are all not exactly what he wants. Well, yeah, I guess that's accurate. I don't want to spoil too much for the episode, but they're not what he wants, but they are literally what he wishes for. So I'm not really sure what he was expecting. Anyways, pretty good episode, has a nice ending. Has a cameo appearance inside the actual story from the Crypt Keeper, which I think is particularly bizarre since the Crypt Keeper is telling these stories. So he just inserted himself into the story. Like, how does that work if you're actually sitting listening to him? And then I was there. Number 4 is actually the first episode of the series, While the Cat's Away. It concerns 2 brothers who want a Baja Sand Slicer dirt bike. I remember exactly what it's called because they say it a lot. And it was also one of the episodes that I watched a lot as a kid. Anyway, they want this dirt bike super bad, these 2 brothers. And to get it, they've decided to rob a dude. For a kid's show, that actually goes to a pretty, like, weirdly serious place. Like there's no goofy get rich quick scheme so we can get this dirt bike. It immediately goes from them, let's ask our dad, oh wait, he doesn't have any money, let's go rob a guy. Anyway, the guy that they decide to go rob is living in a giant spooky mansion, and they go into the giant spooky mansion and have to jump through various horrifying hurdles to get to his secret treasure, which they're sure is in there based on absolutely nothing. They do find some treasure, and I don't want to spoil what it is because it's pretty great. This episode also has the Crypt Keeper in it, like in the actual story for some reason. I'm starting to realize that he did this a lot. Number 3, Gone Fishing. A kid and his dad. I probably should have looked it up beforehand. I think it's his dad. It might be his creepy uncle. I honestly don't remember. It doesn't matter. He goes fishing. They go out fishing. His dad and or uncle, Philip, can you please put a correction up there for me, whichever it is? All right, thank you. Anyway, the older man in this scenario is pretty terrible in so many different ways. And the kid doesn't want to fish anyway. And he starts having nightmares or hallucinations, both, that end up getting pretty weird. Eventually, some fishy revenge is taken on the uncle and or dad and or random man that he has gone fishing with. And I think that it's a really well done episode. It's got a really like classic 1950s Tales from the Crypt comic feel to it. The very last second of the story itself kind of ruins it a little bit. Not enough for me to bump this down, but a little bit. Just ignore that it happens. You'll know what it is. Number 2, Fair Tonight. This episode concerns 2 young girls who are supernatural enthusiasts, one of whom is just real into vampires. She just loves vampires a lot. Well, who doesn't? Anyway, they decide to go investigate some possible vampiric goings-on, and they find some. This episode's really good for a number of reasons. I mean, for the same reasons that the other episodes are. They have that very 1950s Tales from the Crypt comic book feel, and also the 2 main characters are actually characters. They're not mere plot devices to move the story along. I actually enjoyed them and wanted to see them back, even though this is an anthology series. And lucky me, they do come back in another episode that's not on this list, because it wasn't as good. It also has a really good ending. This one, however, is not marred by the weird thing that Gone Fishing is. So, and number 1, all the gory details. This episode is fantastic. It's number 1 for a lot of different reasons. And so a woman, a journalist, goes investigating claims of a mad scientist in some town. And as you can well imagine, she finds proof of these claims. As with the other ones, I don't want to spoil too much for you. And as with the other ones, this also has a 1950s comic booky feel to it. But the difference is that the previous episodes still very much aimed at children. Still couldn't do the whole 9 yards, if you know what I mean. And still included some goofy moments or child characters as the main characters to carry the kid audience along. All the gory details does none of that stuff. It's astounding that this got past the censors. If you have to just watch one of these episodes, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. If you can find them, watch as many as you can. But if you have to just watch one, watch this one and be horrified by the ending and the fact that this was a cartoon. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Check out Tales from the Crypt Keeper on DVD. I'm kidding, you're not gonna be able to find it on DVD for any reasonable price. It's on Amazon for like crazy. Philip, throw up the price that you can find it for, right? That's wild for a season. Anyway, you can probably find it on YouTube or somewhere. Find it where you can and give it a watch. And like and comment and subscribe. on me, on this video, on mine. I'm sorry it took me so long to come back. I don't know where the time went. I don't know what happened. But we'll be back next week, probably. I hope. Philip, will we? Yeah, all right, bye.